Tim Russert lives for days like these. Tim, good morning.
Santa Claus came.
I noticed you brought your little board with you.
I had to.
Now, these are the Senate races, right? Let's start with these, because these are the ones that are up for grabs.
This is what it's all about
right.
when it comes to the U.S. Senate, Meredith. The Democrats, if they want to capture control of the Senate, have to win 8 of these 9 states.
Okay.
They have to hold the Democratic seats in New Jersey and Maryland. Then, if they do that, they have to win 6 of these 7 states, and I have them in order the Democrats think they can win them. Pennsylvania, Ohio, Rhode Island, Virginia, Montana, Missouri, Tennessee. If they lost Tennessee, for example, then they'd have to win 6 of 6. If they happen to lose Maryland and New Jersey, they're 2 states, they cannot capture control of the Senate.
So what you're basically saying is it's highly unlikely they will capture control of the Senate. It's a real long shot.
It's an inside straight. You need 8 of these 9 states in order to capture control of the Senate. And if they lose 2, they're finished.
And in a lot of those states, the race is, at this point, way too close to call.
That's the wonderful thing about this election.
You love stuff like that, don't you?
I do. You know, New Jersey and Maryland have gotten much tighter. Pennsylvania, Ohio, they're very confident about. Rhode Island, Virginia, Montana, Missouri, Tennessee, all very close.
But if this was supposed to be a referendum on Iraq, and all the analysts were saying that, what does it say that in so many states the races are this close?
Well, some of these states are Republican states. The idea that Democrats are contesting in a state like Montana, or a state like Tennessee where they have an African-American candidate, or Missouri is always a battleground state. Ohio and Pennsylvania, I think, are pretty interesting bellwether states when it comes to Iraq. It's been a pretty big issue in both those states. New Jersey and Maryland are fascinating because those are traditionally blue Democratic states. Iraq is very unpopular there, and yet in New Jersey, the Democratic candidate got caught up with some ethics accusations, and in Maryland, Michael Steele, an African-American candidate, is reaching over into the Democratic camp. Maryland has more blacks than any state outside of the South.
What about conventional wisdom? We're hearing that the Democrats, conventional wisdom, will take the House. They won't take the Senate, but they will take the House. What will that mean to the country?
Well, the Republicans I talk to tell me they believe the House is going to go Democratic. They crunched the numbers again last night. But again, who knows? But that's their view, and that's what their expectation is. What it means is that the Congress, the men with the gavels, the women with the gavels, will be having hearings. They'll bring in people, witnesses, generals from Iraq, administration officials, and say, what are you doing and why? They will decide which legislation gets put on the calendar to be passed in the House. It has a profound effect upon national policy. I think it'll have a profound effect on the war in Iraq, because the Democrats will be in a position to be the loyal opposition party, if you will, and that always means that there are some pressure points that you can exert.
Very quickly, rate the overall impact that these stories will have on what happens today. Saddam Hussein death sentence.
It brings back the issue of Iraq. Some people will say it gives us a rationale for having gone in. Others will say it just proves what a fiasco it's been, quote unquote.
Ted Haggard's confessions. The evangelist who said, yes, I did have sex with a prostitute.
Obviously, the issue of hypocrisy may motivate some secular voters, but the others, the evangelicals, will say, well, this is a poor sinner, but we'll continue on. I think what these are, there's a boiling pot right now, Meredith, and these are ingredients that are being dumped into the pot. But the pot is largely Iraq. And these may cause it to boil a little quicker or a little slower. But by and large today, voters are saying this is a message we're sending to Washington, or in support or in opposition to the president and his policies.
And your final predictions?
It's going to be a late night.
Okay. Tim, thank you. And you can follow all the developments on this Election Day 2006 all day long on MSNBC on cable. And Tim will be back along with Brian Williams and Tom Brokaw and the rest of the NBC News political team with all the results tonight at 10, 9 Central, right here on NBC.